My husband slid divorce papers onto my ICU tray and whispered, "Sign it. I married a wife, not a wheelchair. My name is Marlo Pierce. I am 33 years old, and I run payroll and HR for a mid-sized construction company in Austin, Texas." I signed right there, under the fluorescent glare, with my hand still bruised from IV lines. And the second my pen lifted off that paper, I knew he had just made the most expensive mistake of his life. The ICU smelled like bleach and plastic and metal. The air was cold enough to make your skin feel thin. A monitor kept its little rhythm beside me, beep, 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 like it was counting how long I had left to be treated like a person. My left leg was trapped in a heavy immobilizer. The orthopedic surgeon had said the words like a promise. "You will walk again." But my husband did not hear promises. He heard inconveniences. I heard his shoes before I saw him. Quick, confident steps, not the careful pace of someone coming to check if you are alive. The door opened and there he was, Callahan Pierce, still wearing the same expensive cologne he always put on before he lied. He did not look at my face first. He looked at my leg. Behind him, his mother hovered in the doorway like a ghost who had lost her way. Greer clutched her purse with both hands, knuckles white, eyes wet, mouth pinched shut. She was the kind of woman who apologized with silence and called it dignity. Callahan dragged a chair close, the legs squealing on the tile. Then he placed a manila envelope on my tray like he was setting down takeout menus. A pen was taped to the folder with a piece of cheap string, like the hospital expected people to sign away their lives every day. "I need you to sign," he said. "No, how are you feeling?" "No, I'm sorry." "No, thank God you woke up. Just business." I stared at the envelope and felt something inside me settle. Not sadness, not shock, something harder, something that made the world look sharper. "Divorce?" I asked. He exhaled through his nose, impatient like I was slow. "Yes, this is not what I signed up for." I turned my head slightly and watched Greer's eyes flicker toward me, then away. She could not meet my gaze. She could not betray her son with her face, so she betrayed me with her silence. "Callahan," I said quietly, "I'm in intensive care." "And I'm not," he snapped, then softened his voice immediately, performing control. "I need a partner, a perfect wife, not a burden in a wheelchair." Burden. The word hit the room like a slap. And for half a second, even the beeping monitor felt offended. Greer made a tiny sound in her throat, like she wanted to protest, but had forgotten how. I lifted my eyes to his. And the hospital bills. His mouth curled into a smile that did not reach his eyes. "You'll handle your own medical expenses. It's only fair." Only fair. I stared at him long enough to memorize the shape of his arrogance, the way he stood there thinking I would beg. He expected tears. He expected pleading. He expected me to cling to him like a life raft, but my mind was not broken. My mind was the only part of me that was fully awake. I reached for the folder. The paper was already filled out. Names, dates, addresses, his signature at the bottom, slightly crooked, rushed. The handwriting of someone who wanted things done before anyone could stop him. He leaned closer, voice low. "Sign it, Marlo. Don't make this ugly." Ugly? Like what he was doing was clean. My hand trembled as I took the pen, not from fear, but from pain, meds, and swelling. I breathed in slowly, and my chest tightened with a memory I could not ignore. 3 years earlier, I had sat in a notary office on Congress Avenue, signing documents to restructure the company accounts after my promotion. The notary had looked at my ID, compared my signature, stamped it, and said, "This is legally binding. This is you." Callahan had laughed in the car afterwards. "You and your paperwork, always acting like the world is a courtroom." He did not understand me then. He understood even less now. I wrote my full legal name in one steady line, exactly the way it appeared on my driver's license, on every company document, on the bank signature card, on the line that said authorized signer, Marlo Elise Pierce. I did not add flair. I did not rush. I did not hesitate. When I finished, I set the pen down and looked up at him. "It's signed," I said. For a beat, he looked almost confused, like he had been waiting for a performance and I had refused to act. Then his face relaxed into relief. That cold smile returned. The smile of someone who thought he had won without effort. "Good," he said. "That's good, we'll keep this simple." He slid the papers back into the envelope like he was collecting a receipt. Then he stood, straightened his shirt, and nodded toward my leg without looking directly at it, like it disgusted him. Greer took a half step forward. Her lips parted, trembling, and for a second I thought she might say something that mattered. Instead, she whispered, You'll get better." She sounded like she was talking to herself. Callahan opened the door. I saw the hallway light spill in behind him, nurses moving fast, a doctor's voice, life continuing. Callahan glanced back one last time. "You can have the condo. I don't want it. I just want out." Then he left. Greer followed, quick, small steps, like she was chasing his approval before it disappeared completely. The door clicked shut. The room went quiet except for the beep, beep, beep that kept reminding me I was still here. For a moment, my throat tightened, not because I missed him, but because I remembered everything I had been in that marriage. I was the woman who pulled money from my savings to cover his temporary business losses, the woman who ran his payroll when his assistant quit, the woman who paid his mother's prescriptions when her insurance lapsed, the woman who smiled at parties while he made jokes at my expense because I thought keeping the peace was love. And now, in the most vulnerable room in the entire hospital, he had called me a burden. I pressed the call button. A nurse came in, tired eyes, gentle voice. "Yes, ma'am. I need my phone," I said. "And I need someone from billing or administration. Right now." The nurse hesitated, then nodded. She had seen enough to know when a calm voice meant danger. When my phone landed in my hand, it felt heavy, like a weapon, like a key. I opened my contacts and stared at one name I had not needed in years. Sloan Carter, attorney. I hit call. Sloan answered on the second ring. "Marlo." He handed me divorce papers in the ICU, I said. My voice sounded too steady. I signed. There was a pause, not shock, not pity, calculation. Then Sloan's voice turned low. "Did you sign with your full legal name?" "Yes." Another beat. "And he told you to pay your own hospital bills?" "Yes." Sloan exhaled slowly. "Okay, listen to me. Do not text him. Do not warn him. Do not cry to his mother. Just breathe. And tell me one thing. Where is the original envelope?" "It was on my tray. He took it." "That's fine," she said. "The hospital has records, visitor logs, cameras, nurses who saw him. We can prove timing. We can prove intent." My stomach tightened. Intent for what? Sloan did not answer immediately, and in that silence I felt it. The shape of something bigger than a cruel divorce. Then my phone buzzed with a notification, bright and sharp across the screen. It was an alert from my bank app. Scheduled transfer. Company operating account. My heart stopped so hard it felt like the monitor should have noticed. I tapped it and the screen loaded, then loaded again, then showed the details. 3 transfers, smaller amounts, clean numbers, spread out like someone was trying not to trigger alarms, all going to an account I did not recognize. And the authorized user listed on the activity log made my mouth go dry. Callahan Pierce. Quick real-life pause. This part is for me. Some nights I'm editing and I want to quit, but then I see your comments and I keep going. Tap like, subscribe, and tell me where you're listening from. Okay, continuing. All right, now let me take you back. Because the truth is, Callahan did not start stealing when I got hurt. He started long before the accident. I just had not wanted to see it. A year ago, I gave him temporary access to the company account. He had stood behind me in our kitchen, arms around my waist, voice soft like honey. "You work too hard. Let me help. If anything happens, at least I can handle bills. It's what husbands do." I had believed him because I was tired. Because love makes you lazy with your own boundaries. I had signed the bank form, added him as a limited user, and told myself it was smart. Practical, a backup plan. Now, staring at those transfers, I realized it was not a backup plan. It was his exit plan. My fingers went cold. I stared at the alert again, my mind racing through possibilities, through rationalizations, through the old habit of trying to protect him from the consequences of being who he was. But then another notification popped up. This one was from my health insurance portal. Coverage update. Authorized contact changed 2 weeks ago, before my accident. My mouth opened, but no sound came out. My chest felt hollow, like someone had scooped out the air. He had been preparing to abandon me before my leg ever broke. He had been adjusting the locks while I still lived in the house. I called Sloan back immediately. She answered like she had been waiting. "Sloan," I said, voice shaking now, "there are transfers scheduled from the company account, 3 of them. And my insurance authorization was changed 2 weeks ago." Sloan was silent for one long second, and then she said, "He thought you wouldn't survive, Marlo." The words landed in my stomach like ice. "I did survive," I whispered. "And he is going to wish you hadn't," Sloan replied. "Because now we do this the right way." I swallowed hard, trying to keep my breathing even. "What do I do first?" Sloan's voice sharpened. "You freeze the account. Immediately. You call your bank manager and you say there may be unauthorized transfers. Then you call your CFO or accountant and you tell them to lock down access. And Marlo, yes, do you still have your wedding ring? I stared at my hand. The ring was still there, a thin band of gold that suddenly looked like a joke. Yes. Good, she said. Keep it on for now. Let him think you're still the same woman. Let him get comfortable. My heart pounded, and the monitor beside me beeped louder, like it was cheering. Because in that moment, I understood the real reason he wanted me to sign in the ICU. He didn't just want a divorce. He wanted a signature, a clean story, a paper trail that made him look like a man who left a marriage, not a man who drained a company and sabotaged a wife's safety net. He wanted me weak, confused, quiet, but I wasn't confused anymore. I stared at the white ceiling, at the harsh lights, at the sterile perfection of the room, and I felt something shift inside me. If Callahan wanted a perfect wife, he had made the worst possible choice, because I was not going to scream. I was not going to beg. I was going to document him, and then I was going to take everything he tried to steal. With the same calm hand, I used to sign his divorce papers. The nurse came back with a rolling cart and a cautious look, like she could sense the air had changed. You asked for administration, she said quietly. Behind her, a woman in a navy blazer stepped in. Late 40s, tight bun, badge clipped near her collar. She smiled the way people smile when they are trained to stay polite around pain. Ms. Pierce, I'm Arden from Patient Financial Services, she said. I understand you have questions about coverage. I kept my voice gentle on purpose. Yes, I want a printed copy of every insurance change made in the last 30 days. Dates, times, method, device if you have it. Her eyebrows lifted. That's unusually specific. I'm unusually motivated, I replied. Arden's smile faltered for half a second, then returned. We can request an audit report from the portal records. It may take some time. I have time, I said. I also need a copy of the visitor log for my room, yesterday, including the time my husband came in. Arden hesitated. We don't usually release visitor logs without a request from legal. I nodded. Perfect. My attorney will send it. Meanwhile, I need you to flag my account. I want to note that my spouse is not authorized to make decisions, change billing addresses, or discuss my care. The nurse shifted her weight. Arden looked at my leg, then at my face, and the professional mask thinned. Are you safe? She asked softly, almost breaking script. I held her gaze. I'm getting there. Arden exhaled and nodded once. I will place the restriction immediately. When they left, the room felt quieter, but my phone kept vibrating in my palm. Hot with notifications I did not want to open yet. I called my bank manager first. He answered like he always did, calm and friendly. The voice of someone who believes money is the only language that matters. Marlo, he said. How are you? I heard there was an accident. I'm alive, I said. And I need you to listen carefully. I want the company operating account locked. Right now, no outgoing transfers, no wires, no ACH, nothing. There was a pause, and then his tone turned cautious. That is an extreme measure. Are you certain? Yes, I said. There are scheduled movements that are not approved by me. Another pause. I could hear typing. I see them, he said, quieter now. 3 transfers, staggered, same destination account. You want a hold placed on all outgoing activity. Today, I said. And I want a new security note on the account. My spouse is not to be treated as an authorized decision maker, even if he claims he is. Marlo, he said. He is listed as a limited user. He was, I corrected. And now he is not. The bank manager inhaled slowly. I need verbal confirmation. And then I will send a form to your email for electronic signature. Send it, I said. I will sign. And your spouse may call, he warned. Let him, I said. He hesitated like he wanted to ask if I was sure about making an enemy out of my own husband. Then he spoke like a man who had seen this before. Consider it done, he said. I am placing a freeze. Any attempt will trigger a fraud review. When I hung up, the first real wave of relief moved through my chest. It was not happiness. It was oxygen. Then I called my accountant. Thayer Bennett answered on the first ring, voice low, no warmth, all precision. He was in his early 40s and always sounded like he was standing under fluorescent lights in a quiet office, even when he was at home. Marlo, he said, I got your message. You never call me from a hospital. I need you to pull every authorization record connected to the operating account, I said. Every login, every device, every permission. I want to know exactly what my husband can do. Thayer did not ask why. He did not ask if I was okay. He simply said, I am opening the access logs. Give me 20 minutes. My phone buzzed again. This time it was a text. Callahan. I stared at his name like it belonged to a stranger. We need to talk. My fingers hovered over the screen. Sloane's voice echoed in my head. Do not text him. Do not warn him. I set the phone down without replying. A few minutes later, the door opened again and a physical therapist stepped in, smiling too brightly for a room full of machines. Ms. Pierce, I'm Rue, she said. How are we feeling today? I almost laughed at the word we. I'm fine, I lied, because lying was sometimes survival. Rue looked at my leg, then back at me. We are going to sit you up and work on core balance today. I let her adjust the bed. The motion pulled a sharp pain up my thigh, and I gripped the sheets until my knuckles went pale. Breathe, Rue said. I did, in, out. With every breath, my thoughts were sharper, cleaner. Callahan believed the wheelchair was my cage. He did not understand it was also my cover. Rue helped me sit up. The room tilted for a second. The monitor sped up. I swallowed the nausea and forced my voice steady. Rue, I said. If I need to leave the hospital for an hour tomorrow, is that possible? Her face tightened. That depends on your doctor. I'll get permission, I said. Rue studied my expression like she could see something in it that had nothing to do with recovery. What's going on? She asked. I gave her a small smile that did not reach my eyes. I'm learning how to stand up again. After she left, I opened my email and found the insurance portal notice again. The change history was neat, like a list of quiet betrayals. Contact updated. Authorization updated. Billing address updated. My hands went cold all over again. Not because of money, because of timing. 2 weeks before the accident, I had been walking around the condo making grocery lists and planning a weekend dinner with Greer, thinking we were a normal family. 2 weeks before the accident, Callahan had been arranging for me to be financially alone. My phone rang. Sloane, I answered immediately. The bank is freezing the account. Good, she said. Now I need you to do something that feels small, but it matters. I need you to request your medical chart access and hospital security footage request times. Security footage, I repeated. Yes, Sloane said. Not the footage itself yet, just the preservation request. Hospitals overwrite. We make sure it is saved. Yesterday, timestamps. Him entering. Him leaving, that envelope in his hand. My throat tightened. Can we even get that? We can if we do it cleanly, she said. And Marlo, listen. He is going to try to spin this. He will claim you were medicated. He will claim you did not understand what you signed. He will claim you begged him to end it. My skin prickled. I could already hear his voice saying it with that fake sadness he used in public. What do? I asked. You stay calm, Sloane replied. And we gather witnesses who are not your friends. Nurses, staff, logs, neutral people. Paper beats charm every time. My eyes burned, but I did not let tears fall. Also, Sloane continued, do you have your personal laptop at home? Yes. Who has access to it? Only me, I said, then corrected myself with a bitter little laugh. I thought only me. Sloane was quiet. When you can, we need to secure all passwords, banking, insurance, company email, personal email, everything. And we need to do it before he realizes the bank is frozen. My pulse quickened. He will realize soon. He will, Sloane said. And when he does, he will either panic or pretend he is offended. I know which one he likes, I said. Sloane made a low sound of agreement. Offended men are the most predictable. They always say too much. When the call ended, I stared at my phone and felt the first real anger rise, hot and sharp, pushing aside the numbness. I had loved him. I had built a life with him. I had trusted him enough to let him touch the skeleton of my business. The account numbers, the payroll, the tax filings, the things you do not share unless you believe someone is family. And he had used that trust like a key. The door opened again. Greer. She stepped in slowly this time, like she was entering a courtroom. Her cardigan was perfectly pressed. Her hair looked done. Her lipstick was soft pink. The same look she wore to church on Sundays when she wanted to appear kind. She stopped beside my bed and clasped her purse strap so tightly the leather creaked. I came to see you, she said. I did not offer her a chair. I saw you yesterday, I replied. Her eyes flinched. Callahan is under stress. I stared at her until my voice went flat. So am I. I'm the one with a broken leg. Greer swallowed. He said you agreed this was for the best. I almost smiled at the lie. Of course he did. He had always used my silence like proof of my consent. I signed what he put in front of me, I said carefully. That is not the same as agreeing. Greer's mouth trembled. Marlo, please, don't turn this into something ugly. Ugly? Everyone kept using that word like the truth was a stain. I leaned back against the pillow and watched her face, the tightness around her eyes, the way she refused to say the part she actually meant. You're afraid of what people will think, I said. Greer's breath caught. No, I'm afraid of what he will do to himself if he loses everything. I blinked slowly. Everything? You mean my company, my money, my insurance, my patience? Greer's eyes watered, but she still did not step closer. She still did not touch my hand. She whispered, "He is not a bad man." The sentence made something in me go silent. Not because it hurt, because it confirmed what I already knew about her. She loved her son more than she respected truth. I nodded once. "Then you should leave," I said. Greer looked shocked. "Excuse me, you came here to protect him," I said. "Not to check on me. I don't need that kind of visitor." Greer's face went red. "How can you be so cold?" Cold, like the ICU, was a warm place for heartbreak. I held her gaze and spoke softly. "If you want to help, tell me the truth. Where is Callahan right now?" Greer hesitated. That hesitation was louder than any confession. My stomach tightened. "He is not alone," I said. Greer's eyes dropped. She said nothing. I let the silence stretch until it became heavy enough to crush her. Finally, she whispered, "He is staying with a friend." "A friend," I repeated. Greer nodded too quickly. "Yes." My voice stayed even. "What is her name?" Greer's lips parted, then closed. She looked toward the window, toward anything that was not me. I watched her and felt my anger turn into something sharper. A strategy, because if Greer would not speak, I would make her. I reached for my phone and opened my contacts. I scrolled slowly until I found the one person Greer hated involving in family matters. A family friend, a church gossip, a woman whose words traveled faster than light. Then I stopped my thumb. Not yet. I looked up at Greer. "You can go," I said again. Greer stood there for a moment, shaking slightly. Then she turned and walked out without another word. The second the door shut, my phone rang. "Thayer," I answered immediately. "Tell me." His voice was lower than usual. "Marlo," I pulled the access logs. "Your spouse has been exporting reports." My mouth went dry. "What kind of reports?" "Payroll summaries, vendor lists, tax calendar reminders, and," he paused, "he created a new vendor profile 2 weeks ago." I stared at the ceiling. "A vendor profile?" "Yes," Thayer said. "A clean name, something generic. And the account attached matches the destination of those scheduled transfers." The room felt like it tightened around me. He had been planning, not reacting, planning. My fingers curled into the sheets. "How much?" "Not enough to trigger alarms at first glance," Thayer said. "Small amounts, repeated. Classic drain pattern, it adds up." I closed my eyes, and in the darkness behind my eyelids, I saw Callahan standing over my ICU bed, smiling like a winner. He was not just leaving me, he was trying to erase me. Thayer continued, "I sent the full report to Sloan. And Marlo," he lowered his voice even more, "there is one more thing." My throat tightened. "Say it." Thayer inhaled. "The new vendor profile was approved using your login credentials." My eyes snapped open. I did not speak for a second, because the truth moved through my body like cold water. Callahan had used my own identity to authorize theft, which meant he either stole my password, or he had access to my devices, or he had been watching me for longer than I ever admitted. My hand shook as I held the phone. "Thayer," I whispered, "send me the timestamp." "I already did," he said. "And it happened on the exact day you were at the notary office updating your emergency paperwork." My heart thudded hard, because that meant he was with me that day, standing beside me, smiling, while learning exactly how to wear my name like a mask. The moment Thayer said that, my whole body went still, like the machines had finally stopped, and the only sound left was my own heartbeat, because I remembered that day with humiliating clarity. I had been at the notary office in a navy blazer, hair pinned back, trying to look like a woman who had everything under control. Callahan had come with me. He had insisted, actually. He held the door, kissed my cheek, joked with the receptionist, acted like the supportive husband everyone admired. While I signed, he stood behind my shoulder, close enough to see my screen when I typed a password, close enough to watch the way my fingers moved, close enough to learn me like a code. I stared at the ceiling and felt the nausea return, not from pain meds, but from understanding. He did not steal from me because I got hurt. He stole from me because he knew how to wear love like camouflage. My phone buzzed again. A new message from Callahan. Why is the account frozen? No hello, no concern. Just the panic of a man realizing his secret door had slammed shut. I did not respond. Instead, I called Sloan and put her on speaker so my hands could stop shaking. "I have the vendor profile," I said. "It is linked to the same destination account, and it was approved using my credentials." Sloan's voice turned crisp, the way it did when she stopped being a person and became a strategy. "Good, that makes this clean." "Clean," I repeated, almost laughing. "He used my login." "That is the point," she said. "He wanted it to look like you did it, but we have timestamps. access logs, device fingerprints, and we can subpoena his phone records and IP history. He will not enjoy that. I swallowed hard. He already texted me. Do not answer, Sloan said. Not yet. We are going to give him one chance to talk himself deeper into it. My throat tightened. How? We meet him, she said. Public, calm, controlled. You will look like the reasonable one, he will act like the victim, and he will say the exact thing we need him to say. A cold wave moved through me. I'm in a hospital bed. You can be in a hospital bed and still win, Sloan replied. But we do it safely. I will arrange it with your doctor. You do not go alone, and we do not meet at your condo. My mind flashed to Greer, her hands clenched around her purse, her fear of appearances. She was a weak link, which meant she was also a lever. I want Greer there, I said. Sloan paused. Do you think she will come? She will if she thinks it protects him, I answered. Sloan made a low sound. Then we invite her. The next morning, my doctor cleared me for a short outing, as long as I stayed in the chair and did not push my limits. He looked at me like he wanted to ask why, but did not. People in hospitals learn quickly that pain comes with stories, and not everyone wants to tell them out loud. Rue helped me into a clean outfit. Soft black pants, a simple cream blouse, nothing dramatic, just presentable. I kept my wedding ring on, like Sloan advised, because men like Callahan trusted symbols more than truth. Carol picked me up from the hospital entrance, the one person in my life who had no reason to protect him. She drove with both hands on the wheel, jaw set, eyes forward. You sure you want to see him? She asked. I'm sure, I said. I just don't want him to know how sure. Sloan met us at a quiet cafe near downtown. Not trendy, not loud. The kind of place where lawyers and accountants sat with laptops and nobody paid attention to other people's misery. I rolled in and chose a table with my back to the wall. Sloan sat beside me, calm, focused. Carol took a seat 2 tables away, close enough to watch, far enough to look uninvolved. Then Callahan walked in. He looked tired, but not sad. He looked irritated, like life had inconvenienced him by requiring consequences. His hair was neatly styled. His watch caught the light. His mouth was already shaped into that controlled expression he used when he wanted to look reasonable. Behind him came Greer. Her eyes flicked to me, then away, as if looking directly at a woman in a wheelchair might make her responsible for what her son did to her. Callahan saw my ring and his face softened for half a second, not with love, but with calculation. He sat down across from me and exhaled like he was the one who had been wronged. What is going on? He said. Why did you freeze the account? I tilted my head slightly. Good morning to you too. He ignored that. I have bills. I have payroll to handle. You can't just lock things because you're emotional. Sloane's gaze stayed neutral. This meeting is being documented, she said calmly. So choose your words carefully. Callahan laughed once, sharp and fake. Documented, of course. You always do that, Marlo. You always need an audience. I looked at him and felt something inside me go very quiet. Not hurt, not fear, clarity. I didn't freeze it because I'm emotional, I said. I froze it because you scheduled transfers to an account under a fake vendor name. Greer's breath caught. Callahan's eyes narrowed. What transfers? Sloan slid a printed page onto the table, gently, like she was placing down a napkin. Dates, amounts, destination account. Callahan glanced at it and his jaw tightened, just for a second. Then he did exactly what guilty men always do. He went on offense. This is ridiculous, he snapped. That is not fake. That is a contractor, a vendor. You don't understand your own books. I kept my voice soft. It was created 2 weeks ago, with my login credentials, while I was at a notary office, with you. Greer blinked fast, confused. She looked at her son like she was waiting for him to explain it away. Callahan leaned forward. So what? You're accusing me of stealing now. That's what this is. You're trying to ruin me because you can't handle the divorce. I let the silence sit for a beat, because silence made people fill it. You already tried to ruin me, I said. In the ICU, you wanted me to sign a paper while I was trapped in a bed. Greer flinched and I saw it. Shame. Not enough to defend me, but enough to sting. Callahan's face twisted. Don't start with that again. You said you wanted a perfect wife, I continued, still calm. You said I was a burden. Callahan's cheeks reddened. He glanced around the cafe, suddenly aware of other people. Sloane's voice stayed even. This is not about feelings. This is about intent. And we have more than one paper trail. Callahan scoffed. Oh, please, you can't prove anything. I looked at him and asked the question I knew he could not resist. Then, Why did you change my insurance authorization 2 weeks before my accident? His mouth opened, then closed. Greer turned her head sharply. Callahan. He stared at his coffee like it had betrayed him. Then he shrugged, and that shrug told me everything about his character. Not remorse, not apology, just entitlement. I did what I had to do, he muttered. Greer's lips parted. What does that mean? Callahan's eyes flicked to his mother, annoyed that she was making this harder. It means I wasn't going to be stuck with the bills. Sloane didn't move. But I felt the air in the room change. Greer's face went pale. You changed her insurance. Callahan snapped. She was fine when I changed it. And then she got in that accident, and suddenly I'm supposed to babysit a broken wife forever. Babysit. Broken wife. He said it in the same tone he used to talk about car repairs. Like my body was a problem he wanted returned to the manufacturer. Greer stared at him like she was seeing a stranger. You said you loved her. Callahan laughed, bitter. Love doesn't pay for a lifetime of physical therapy. I did not raise my voice. I did not cry. I just watched Greer's expression shift through denial, confusion, and finally something ugly. Disappointment. Sloane slid one more page forward. And this is the vendor profile creation log. Device, timestamp, location. It matches a login from your phone network. Callahan's eyes flicked to the paper, then to me. For the first time since the ICU, his confidence cracked. He leaned back, trying to recover his control, trying to act offended again. This is insane. You're trying to frame me. I tilted my head. Frame you, with your own logs, your own timing, your own words. His throat bobbed as he swallowed. Sloane spoke like a judge. Here is what happens next. You sign a settlement that removes you from any access to her business immediately. You repay every attempted transfer. You restore her insurance coverage costs and reimburse her out-of-pocket expenses. And you agree to a permanent restriction order regarding her accounts and records. If you do not, we file civil claims and cooperate with criminal investigation referrals for the fraud pattern. Greer made a small sound, like she had been punched. Callahan snapped his eyes to his mother. Don't look at me like that. Greer's voice came out thin. You did this. He tried to grab the table back with anger. I did what I had to do. I stared at him. No, you did what you wanted to do. Callahan's hands curled into fists. You think you're so smart because you can sit there and play victim. I leaned forward slightly, keeping my voice low. I'm not playing victim. I'm playing evidence. His face went tight, and I saw the math happening behind his eyes. The loss of control, the risk, the exposure. He glanced at Greer again, searching for loyalty. This time, she did not give it. She looked at him like a mother looking at her son. And realizing he had grown into a man she did not recognize. Sign it, she whispered. Callahan froze. Mom, sign it. Greer repeated, louder now, still shaking but firm. You will not drag this family into shame. You will not destroy her after she supported you. Sign. The word shame did more to him than any legal threat. His chest rose and fell fast. He looked at me like he wanted to punish me with his eyes, but I gave him nothing. Sloane placed the pen on the table, calmly. Callahan stared at it the way he had wanted me to stare at the pen in the ICU. Like it was a cage. Then he grabbed it and signed, hard enough that the paper shifted. When he finished, he shoved it back towards Sloane. Greer let out a breath that sounded like grief. I did not celebrate. I just felt something unhook inside my chest. I looked at Callahan one last time. You wanted a perfect wife, I said softly. He flinched, because he knew what was coming. I continued, voice steady. A perfect wife would have begged you to stay. I'm not perfect. Then I turned my chair slightly and rolled away from the table. Sloane followed. Carol stood and stepped into place behind me like a wall. Outside, the air hit my face warm and bright. And for a moment, I just breathed like I had been underwater for years. 2 weeks later, I left the hospital with a cane and a stack of discharge papers. The insurance issue was corrected. The business accounts were secured. My passwords were changed. 2-factor authentication was turned on for everything. Thayer rebuilt access permissions from scratch. Callahan moved out of the condo quietly. No dramatic fight. No public apology. Just a man packing boxes like he was trying to erase his own footprint. The divorce finalized a month after that. The day it was stamped and filed, I walked into the same notary office on Congress Avenue. My leg ached, but it held me. The notary checked my ID and watched me sign. Marlo Elise Pierce. She stamped it and slid the document back with a polite smile, as if she had no idea she had just witnessed the cleanest kind of revenge. When I stepped outside, the sun was high, and the sidewalk smelled like coffee and traffic and ordinary life. Carol waited by the car and grinned at me. You did it. I touched the cane, then looked up at the sky. I came back, I said, and I did not hear Callahan's voice in my head anymore. I heard my own.